So one of the things that we do, one of the first things that you need to do when you're finding your venue is determine how much space you need. And CVent inside of their site selection tool has something called a space calculator.
Love it.
And the space calculator says you can basically go in and say, I want a room for 150 people. I would like it set in rounds. How much square footage do I need? And it spits you out a number. Now there's a little trick that I'm going to tell you that you absolutely need to do when you're doing this, because the square footage calculator says it doesn't account for any staging, doesn't account for any team tables at the back of the room, it doesn't account for any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a little checkbox on the square footage calculator that says rear projection. If you select rear projection and you have the setting for how you're going to set the room and the number of people right, your square footage calculation is going to be pretty close. I still add 10 to 15% to that number. So if it gives me, let's say 2,000 square feet, I say I need 2,200 or 2,300, kind of in that range.
That is really stealth. That's like one of those tips that's so helpful, because I've never seen a hotel calculation factor in that type of square footage. They're always telling you the max capacity
That's
for the
the
room.
other thing I was going to say. Anytime a hotel, if you ever ask a hotelier how much space, or what's the capacity calculation for that ballroom, they're going to tell you max
wall
set.
to wall.
Exactly. Like
they're not factoring in your audiovisual. They're not factoring in your team table, your VIP riser.
I have to tell you, I've seen some hotels that don't even factor in what fire marshals require.
Right.
In
We just
terms
had that
of,
happen at a property,
like some
recently.
craziness where a salesperson will say, "Oh yeah, you can fit 5,000 people in there," and you walk in the ballroom and there's like a sign on the door that says max capacity 4,400, and you're like,
Where'd you get
"Where
that?
did you get that number?"
Yeah, that's sales math.
Exactly. So use the capacity calculator. It is a phenomenal tool. Then once you know how much square footage you need, you can use the Find Venue feature inside CVent to narrow down your search. So you go by
I think
city.
it allows you to check city and actually the number of stars. So if you're looking for like a more affordable property, you don't bother sourcing a 4-star property. If you're only looking for a high-end property, you don't bother sourcing a 1-star property. So it really does allow you to kind of cross-reference all these different venue options, which is a huge time saver on the front end.